Hey, what's going on? It's Bill Burr, and this is the Monday morning podcast for Monday, August 31st, 2009, and I am recording this one from Stockholm, Sweden. That's right, I'm a big shot, international traveler. You know? Not bad for some bum who used to work in a warehouse. Stockholm, Sweden, people. I've been here for a week, and it has been absolutely incredible. I'm not going to lie to you. It's one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been to, and has some of the most beautiful people I've ever seen. And I'm not going to lie to you. I got to go with Adolf Hitler on this one. These are some good-looking sons of bitches out here. You know, I mean, I don't think that's an excuse to go out and try to eliminate all the other races of people. He took it a little far, but I can definitely see what he was enamored with. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Like these are some of the most... Even like the guys. Like, I was walking down the street with my girl and going, look at that fucking guy. Would you... Look at him. How is that guy not famous? That guy would be Brad Pitt in our country. Look at him. Even the old people are good looking. You know what? All the younger dudes, they all look like... who's that fucking dude with the Paul McCartney haircut that all the girls are screaming about? He's got those Jim Brewer eyes. You know? Those glassy eyes. And he's got the fucking Paul McCartney haircut. I think he was in one of those High School Musical. I don't know. They all fucking look like that, except it's blonde hair. And I don't know. And then the older guys, they all look like fucking like the bad guy in a Mel Gibson 1980s movie. You know? Something like that. And then the women are just absolutely fucking ridiculous. I saw this girl, like, I haven't even, you know, when you walk down the street with your girlfriend, you try to, like, subtly look at women. I was not doing that. I had absolutely no respect for her. I was just going, Jesus Christ. And then she wouldn't even punch me. If I was in the States, she would fucking punch me. But here, she was just like, was that a VJ? You know? Was that, you know, they're just fucking gorgeous. And I'm sitting there. I've never felt like I had, that I was compromised genetically until I came to Stockholm, Sweden. And I was really starting to get a complex, but yesterday I took the subway, or the underground, as they call it. Do you want to find the underground? They don't talk like that, but that's my hacky foreign accent. And I took the subway out of Stockholm, Sweden, and I went to some of the, like, it was almost like I got on the train and I went up to the Bronx or, like, out to Queens, and that's evidently where they keep all their ugly people. And, yeah, all of a sudden I felt like I was in Revere, you know, or Medford. So there's definitely some struggling people here. You know what it looks like? Like, all of Stockholm looks like Soho in New York, where everyone's really trendy, really fashionably dressed, and just fucking ridiculously good looking. And you know, like I said, I've never felt like I should be sleeping under a bridge before until I came out here. But anyways, so with that, I had one show this weekend. On the 29th, I was working the I don't know, some fucking theater. I forget the name of it. But I was all nervous because everybody over here, even though they're bilingual, you know, they when they're walking around, right? So the comedians going on in front of me are all up there going, right? And I'm fucking sitting back there going, I don't think these people are going to get what the fuck I'm talking about. So fortunately, I was smart, and I went up the night before my theater gig is what I did. I went up the night before, and I kind of got all that, like, nervousness out, and I was able to figure out just a couple of things to switch up. Like, I made a reference to kickball. If you guys saw my Tonight Show set I did where I talk about the bankers striking out playing kickball, they don't know kickball over here. So one of the other comedians told me, switch it to soccer. I said, okay. And just little adjustments like that. So I kind of had an okay set Thursday, but I was really on my fucking heels. I really felt like a freak. But then Friday came along, and I don't know. The theater wasn't packed. It was sort of like maybe like half full. So I have this weird psychological thing where if a room isn't full, I don't feel nervous. But if it's full, I feel nervous. And it has nothing to do with numbers. If you had a room that only held like 40 people and there was 40 people in there, I would feel a pressure to kill. But if you stuck me in a theater that held like, 700 people and there was only 400 people there, I would feel like I was in this little ass crowd. So that's basically what happened. And I went out and I had a great time. Destroyed. Got a standing ovation in the end, and I can't even tell you how fucking relieved I was because, it took me 16 hours to get here from LA, so you really don't want to bomb. And one of the goals of coming over here was to fucking destroy so that I can start building like a following over here because, like most people, I've always wanted to come to Europe and see all this stuff over here, but it'd be even better if I could come over and make a little bit of money. So that's kind of my goal, Gonna start, getting a following over here, and I'll fly over here. I'll make some kronas here in Sweden, and then I'll go fucking blow it all in Italy or fucking Paris or some shit. Why the fuck not? Right? Come over here, drink like Ernest Hemingway, act like I'm an actual fucking artist rather than someone who curses every other word. But, so this is the funny part, right? So I killed and everything was great and I felt fantastic. And then the next night, they go, well, hey, we're having this comedy festival. There's this big theater show. It's going to be sold out. Even more people who came out to your show. Do you want to do it? And I said, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. Because I'll get in front of more people. Maybe they'll come to my show. And like a fucking typical comic, I couldn't just leave. I couldn't leave on a high note. I had to go for one more, and I went up, and I only did okay Saturday night. I came out a little too cocky, and I think I kind of came off like an ass. I didn't suck, but it wasn't great. But I know it wasn't great because when I got off, one of the people was like, how did you feel about that? That's when you know it could have been better. When they don't say great job. When somebody says, how did you feel about that? I don't know. I'm probably making a bigger deal out of it than it was. But anyways, it was a big success over here, and I really miss my dog, and I'm ready to go back. I got one more day over here today, and I actually went to a museum yesterday, and they have this I can't explain what the fuck it is. Basically, in the 1600s, it's kind of a funny story. The king over here commissioned this big battleship to be built, and it actually had 2 gun decks. I think back in the day they only usually had 1, but they built 2 gun decks. Literally, I counted when I went to look at it. Like they had like 20 some odd cannons on both sides. It was absolutely huge. The carvings and the woodworking in the back of the ship, and like the little windows where you open up, where you stick the cannons out. They had like these lions' heads carved in. I don't know. I guess it was something else to intimidate the enemy. Like the fucking cannons weren't enough. I thought the 20 cannons were bad, dude, but they got a fake lion head, and it doesn't look happy. So anyways, so they commission have this ship built. So they build the fucking thing. Everybody piles on the goddamn thing. They got the guns out and all this shit, and they fucking go out in the bay. It's like a couple thousand people watching, and it fucking sank. They didn't even got to use it. It'd be like if you bought a brand new car. And so, you come home, dude, what's it got? It's got a 351 Cleveland. Dude, fucking do a burnout. And he just fucking, with like 8 miles on the car, you wrap it around a pole. And not only do you wrap it around a pole, all your friends fucking watch. And even though they're your friends, they're fucking secretly happy because they can't be happy for you because you have a better car, which means you're going to get better pussy. So it's just in their DNA, right? So they fucking take this boat out there. And they say a squall came. I didn't look up to see what a squall was. Is that some sort of a storm? Is it a gust of wind? I know it isn't a rogue wave. That's one of the worst lines ever in a movie. Did you guys ever see Perfect Storm? A rogue wave evidently is like this mini tidal wave that just comes out of fucking nowhere, and a lot of times it washes people off the boat. So most people, they're not out to sea like me, so you have no idea what the fuck it was. So if you just showed a rogue wave in a movie, if the seas were kind of calm and all of a sudden this big wave out of fucking nowhere just washed a couple people overboard, you would have been like me sitting in the movie theater going, what the fuck was that? So they literally had to have Mark Wahlberg's character scream out, "Rogue wave!" as it comes in. Do you remember that? Who would yell that out? Wouldn't you yell, get down, or whatever the fuck you'd be like, you'd yell, fuck, dude! That's what you'd yell. You wouldn't yell. Like if someone pulled a gun on you and started shooting at you, you'd be screaming, no, running down the alley. You wouldn't be like, 38 special. Anyways, let me plow ahead here. All right, so they send this ship out. Everybody's standing on the shores. Everybody's all proud. Oh yeah, look at the size of the boat. Look at these lion's heads, yeah? Right? And the fucking thing is some sort of squall hits it. Then I don't know what happened. It started to right itself. And then another one hit it, and it just fucking went down. And when you got 2 decks of guns, you go down quick. Like 50 people fucking drowned. It was just a nightmare. And evidently they had some sort of stones at the bottom of the boat, but they didn't have enough. I think that's to make it sort of sit in the water. You know what it really came across? It kind of came across like what Chrysler said the Suzuki Samurai was, where it said it tipped over at like 2 miles an hour because of its center of gravity, which evidently was a total fucking lie. They just wanted to sell more Jeeps. But I think that that's basically what happened. They built this big, grand fucking boat. And, they had trials trying to figure out, everybody was blaming each person. But anyway, so the motherfucker sinks to the bottom of the bay. And over time, people kind of forgot where the fuck it was. And it stayed down there for 333 years before they brought it. Somebody found it, they brought it back up, and it was in pristine fucking condition. Jesus, this is a long way to go. And me and my girl went to the museum and we saw it. I'm going to tell you, it's one of the most amazing fucking things I've ever seen. Which is funny, because if you tell anybody in Sweden that you're going to go see it, they just laugh at you. Because I guess as kids, they always get dragged there and they have to do book reports on it and they fucking hate the thing. It's the typical thing. Think about where you live. Think about what the tourist attractions are. You never go to the tourist attractions in your own town. Okay? There's just something in human beings' DNA where you're like, dude, I'm not standing in line in my own fucking town. It's like when I lived in New York, I never went to the Statue of Liberty or the Empire State Building unless some friend of mine came to town and they wanted to go, and I hated every second of it. That's basically the deal. But if you ever go to Stockholm, Sweden, I'm telling you, you have to go. You got to go. You got to go check it out. If you're into that type of shit, it was unbelievable. I don't read a lot of the stuff either. I always get like sleepy when I start reading the plaques. I just like looking at the shit and the little fucking boots that they had. People were so small back then. I always wondered if I could go back in time like the size I am, if I would be like the toughest guy in town. Especially if you imagine if you took like jiu-jitsu classes and all the latest fucking fighting styles, what a goddamn badass you'd be, No, wait a minute. They had like those fucking spiky balls that were at the end of the chains. All right. Do I sound dumb enough to make this an official fucking podcast? All right, let's get on with the podcast. Before I do, I just want to thank everybody who came out to my show at Rival, however the fuck you say it. I had a great time, and it was an absolute thrill to go on the other side of the planet and actually have people know who the fuck I was. I even brought up my dog, and somebody in the crowd yelled out Cleo. There was actually people who listened to the podcast, which was really awesome and fucking scary all at the same time. I was like, yeah, I got a dog recently, and somebody yelled out, Cleo! I was like, yeah, it was really, your papers, please, yeah? There was that and somebody else who I was like, what is there to do out here? What should I be doing out here? And somebody in the crowd fucking yelled out, come to my house, we'll have a party. I'm not even exaggerating. That's what it fucking sounded like. And I wanted to record that guy on my cell phone and have that as my outgoing message. That if you called me and it went directly to my outgoing message, that's what would come up. Rather than, hey, this is Bill, leave a message, you cunt, It would be him just going, come to my house, we'll have a party. Boot. All right, let's plow ahead here. Oh, somebody actually informed me that last week was the first time in the history of my podcast I did an entire podcast without using the word cunt. I don't know what that says about that person, but they're definitely into the podcast. Okay, let's move on here. Getting on with the podcast. Somebody sent me a really good email about last week when I was going off on how somebody had made fun of Ringo Starr and said something to the effect of, because Ringo said that he wasn't going to be signing anything anymore after like October. Basically, after 50 years of signing autograph, the guy's approaching 70 years of age. His wrist is going to fall off. He's probably going to die within the next decade, right? That's still a good run. He wants to go do some shit. So, of course, all the fans get pissed and someone's like, without us, he wouldn't be famous. And I was saying that was really an arrogant... Did somebody just knock on the fucking wall telling me to shut up? And he's yelling, yeah. I'll go fuck yourself. I'm doing a podcast. Anyways... So I thought that was just an arrogant statement. It's like the fans. Like if it wasn't for the fans, he wouldn't be famous. It's like you're totally discounting the man's talent. He's considered one of the greatest drummers of all time. He inspired an entire generation to play drums. I don't know. So anyway, I can't really even explain my point of view because so many of my point of views are just spur of the moment, So anyways, the guy writes... On your last podcast, you were talking about how the fans don't make someone who they are. The fans, and this guy says, the fans don't make someone talented. You're right about that. But without the fans, all the talent in the world doesn't mean shit. How many talented performers have faded away because they failed to find an audience? How many no-talent hacks are making a living in the entertainment industry just because they somehow managed to get a bunch of mindless fucktards to buy their crap? I understand what you're saying there. And he brings up this great point of how that show Carnival or Carnival, however the hell you said it, was on HBO. And he said to this day, it's probably the second best show they've ever had behind the wire. But they canceled the show after 2 seasons, claiming that the DVD sales weren't sufficient to justify the amount of money they were spending on making the show. Yet stale shit like 24, which is retelling the same fucking story every goddamn year, is in its 8th season. Just being talented isn't what keeps entertainers employed. The fans do. Okay, now that's kind of a different argument. Okay, I was saying that fans are not the reason Ringo Starr is famous. If you wanted to say, like, if it wasn't for the songwriting ability of Paul McCartney and John Lennon, Ringo Starr might have ended up washing dishes. I would go with that. I would definitely go with that. All right? And I can definitely see that aspect of it. But to sit there and like, put it this way, if it wasn't for AC/DC, I wouldn't have had a life in my teenage years. Okay? And on no level do I feel like Angus and Malcolm should thank me for Back in Black, for the success of Back in Black. They made a fucking killer album, And they worked their asses off on it, and it was so fucking good, my ears couldn't ignore it. All right? I wasn't part of this group of people who sat there and said, you know what we're going to do today? We're going to make AC/DC famous. And goddamn it, those sons of bitches better appreciate us, because if it wasn't for us, the Back in Black album would suck. I guess if we didn't buy it, it would have disappeared into obscurity, but like, I just give AC/DC more credit because they're an organized group of people creating something. And I'm just a fucking jackass walking around. I don't know. I don't look at it that way. But I definitely see, if people don't listen to your shit, then you don't sell any of it, then your career is over. Absolutely. But I don't feel that buying this shit is in the control of the fans. I think the artist makes something so great you have to buy it. You know? And as far as like a TV show, I hate this expression because I don't hunt, but I'm going to use it anyways. As far as a TV show goes, that's an entirely different animal, man. I hate when people say that, but it kind of fits here. A TV show is different because what you're doing there is you're trying to go, like, you're commercially fishing. You don't give a fuck. You're trying to grab as many people as you can as opposed to just doing what you do. I can't explain it. Having a TV show goes beyond doing what you do, and if they like, build it, they will come. It goes beyond that. Because, just because they weren't selling enough DVDs, is that really a fan thing, or is that the cunts in the industry who have this corporate mentality where every quarter they have to make more money? You know what I mean? So it causes them to douche things after only 2 seasons. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to belittle people who are fans. I don't think that artists should take their fans for granted. But I don't feel as a fan, of all the people I'm a fan of, I don't feel like they owe their success to me. And if they don't want to sign something, I'm fine with that. Does that make me fucking weird? I don't think Ringo Starr's 70 fucking years old. What more is he going to... How many more pairs of tits can that guy sign? All right? He's probably got diarrhea every other Thursday. I mean, can the guy fucking live his life? I don't know. All right, let's move on here. All right, you know what I mean? Like, I just went to Stockholm, Sweden. I just said thanks to all the fans who came out. I don't take them for granted, And I was fucking kissing babies and shaking hands at the end of my show. But I got to admit, if I'm coming over here at 70, I want to be wheeled back to my hotel and drink some tea. And that wouldn't mean that I'm taking them for granted. It just means I'm fucking old and I'm tired. Do you know how many autographs Ringo is probably... I've already been through this. He gets no credit. 50 years of autographs is not enough. And then people are going to take credit for his success. I just thought that was a little out of line. All right? That's all I'm fucking trying to say there. And like I said, having said that, I will be kissing babies and signing DVDs and taking pictures with those awful fucking digital cameras that for some reason... take, like, you just don't shoot, you got to hold the button down for like 19 minutes and you got to, is it the 18th flash or the 19th flash where I can finally stop smiling? All right, plowing ahead. Bill, so something kind of ridiculous happened to me the other day, and you're the only person who I think might appreciate my point of view on the matter. Okay, so there's this really good-looking lady that works at the sandwich shop around the corner from my job. So I've been going there for like a year now, and I've always wanted to say something to her, but never did because either the place was too busy at the time or I just pussied out, usually the latter. So the other day, I finally man up and decided to say something, and it went a little something like this. I go in after 2, so it's not as busy. I place my order. She makes me a wrap. She hands me a wrap, and I say, "Excuse me. I've been coming in here for a while, and I've always wanted to introduce myself." And before I can even get the words out, her smiling expression turns blank. Her lips seal tight, and she kind of looks up at her eyebrows with that, "you gotta be fucking kidding me," look all over her face. I can only equate... shit, I just hit the wrong button on my computer. He goes, "I can only equate the look to an employee, what an employee might have when they're done with their work for the week, and on Friday evening, right as they feel like they're going to get out of there, the boss comes and drops another hour's worth of paperwork on their desk. They can't say anything, but they're thinking, 'You fucking prick.'" So what I end up saying after I get this look from this chick is, this is basically what the guy says. He said, "Excuse me, I've been coming in here for a while, and I've always wanted to introduce myself." You know what? Fuck it. Never mind. And he goes, "I turned around and I just walked out." All right. And he goes, "Now here's my issue." Dude, we've all been there, all right? We've all fucking been there. All right. So he goes, "Now here's my issue. It's not that I was rejected. Big deal. That shit happens all the time, right? That's like an ongoing theme in an adult life, and I've learned to live with it." Jesus, dude, don't jump off a cliff here. He goes, my problem is that society, I can't even talk, society, my problem is society dictates that the guy should approach the girl, and all the girl really needs to do is look pretty, throw a few signals, and wait for dudes to start clamoring like morons. Is it fair? No, but then again, it's really not a big deal. It's one of the situations you grow accustomed to. But if that is the case, and if all women have to do is be pretty, then say yes, or go fuck yourself, could they at least wait 30 seconds for me to say whatever retarded shit I'm thinking before they shoot me down? All she has to do is wait a minute and say, no thank you. But instead, I get cut off by stink eye mid-sentence. Should I have told her to go fuck herself? What are your thoughts on this sort of shit? Your true and loyal fan, Bobo the douchebag. All right. What are my feelings on this? All right, first of all, dude, we've all been there. We've all, you got it in your head, you're going to come up there like fucking Sean Connery in one of those early James Bonds. You even feel like you got a fucking tuxedo on, and then the second you open your mouth, you sound like fucking Arnold Horshack, and you even want to shoot yourself down at that point, okay? But in answer to your question, should I have told her to go fuck herself? No. That's not... I mean, I'm just, having not been there. I can't... It would depend on what the look on her face was, or how she looked. If she was just some hot girl who didn't have a brain in her head, yeah, then you tell her to go fuck herself. But this is a really cute girl, and you actually feel like, wow, I'd like to get to know that girl. No, you don't tell her to go fuck herself. It's actually in that moment when she gives you the stink eye is when you have to come up with something funny to say, something clever, something so you show that you're not going to quit in life. Because that's what, I hate to say it, dude, but that's what you showed her. You showed her that you have the quit DNA in your fucking ball bag, and she's not going to want to mate with you. But fortunately, there's plenty other gazelles out there on the fucking Serengeti that you can try to run down. You see the Discovery Channel. Cheetah doesn't always fucking run the thing down. Sometimes it gets kicked in the face, and then it sits there feeling stupid. Especially when it realizes it's being filmed and it's going to be on basic cable. There's where you can actually look at a bright side. It wasn't filmed. You just got to come up with something in that moment that's funny. And I actually kind of thought about it, what I would have said, and I would have choked even if I tried to come up with something funny, because in the moment I would have felt like a douche, and I probably would have attacked what she did for a living, which is the worst thing you can do. I'd be like, really? You've been working here for a year and a half. 2 years you're making sandwiches. You're not getting any younger there, sweetie. All right, it would have been bad. It would have been bad. It's very easy for me, to sit here and tell you what you should have done. It's kind of like, when you watch a football game or something like that, and once it ends, and whatever the game plan was didn't work out, but, dude, why didn't they give it to Marshall Faulk? I don't understand. It's easy to do that. So, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it'd be funny. You got to go back there and keep ordering sandwiches. I don't know. That's fucking humiliating. You might have to find a new place to get a sandwich, dude. I got to be honest with you. I don't know how you pull yourself out of that one. What did you say? You know what? Fuck it. Oh, this is what you do. So just walk in, just kind of be a dick, When you just walk up, hey, sunshine, or something. Don't listen to me. All my shit just always ends up with, there's a reason I get heckled as much as I do, because I'm an asshole. But as far as like what you said earlier, because I know there's a lot of women pulling their fucking hair out right now when you say all a woman has to do is be pretty and wait for the offers to come in. I don't know, dude, if you ever had a girlfriend, first of all, that whole thing of looking pretty from my standpoint and my experience takes at least 4.5 fucking hours. And you never know. That girl might have been giving you the stink eye because she's a really good-looking girl, and she has a job where she deals with the public. So, believe it or not, the amount of ugly, fucking out-of-shape dudes who actually don't have a problem approaching beautiful women is actually it's pretty high. I mean, personally, I think it's funny, but if you're a woman, it's not as funny. And I think that's something that took me a long time to realize how, uncomfortable that feeling can be. You know, because guys think, dude, I would love to be standing there and women hitting on me. But what you have to do is you got to see how we're physically made up. The fact that a guy, you know, what if there was this thing that physically could beat the shit out of you and it wanted to enter your body? That's the only way to try to put yourself in and what if you're not attracted to it and you feel it getting angry when you're trying to communicate that, you know, you're all set, you know? And then there's the option that if they wanted to, they could give you a forearm shiver and begin to execute their plan, you know? Oh, Jesus, how do I talk myself out of this one? You know what it's like? Put it this way, for all the guys listening out there. If somebody said, hey, man, I'll give you $10. This is like an old joke I used to do in my act. I'll give you $10 to walk over to that birthday cake and stick your finger in it. You got you $10? Yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. You know, $20 or whatever, just something, you know. You do it. You wouldn't think anything about it. Whatever. Stick it in, you take it right back out. You know, you wouldn't give a fuck. But what if somebody said, dude, I'll give you $20 to take that cake and put it in your ass? See what I mean? There'd be a difference. Then you would have some questions. You know, where has that cake been? Are you going to tell anybody? I usually don't do things like this. You know, that's why women, they approach sex that way. You know, they got to have rules on when they're going to fuck you and all that. Did that example, I know on some level it made sense. I'm a little jet lagged. I haven't done that joke in a while, and I got to admit, halfway through it didn't even make sense to me. I'm just saying, you know. Did I answer your question? So this is what you got to do. You got to treat women like I treated open mics. Okay, you just know you're going to bomb, and eventually you're going to get good at it. So just keep, you know, make some notes. What you're going to do the next time that happens. You know, maybe try to come up with a couple of lines. And I hope you appreciate what a fucking pain in the ass it is for a guy to get laid. You know what I mean? And that's why there's the whole stud whore double standard. Because basically, for a guy to get laid, this is what he has to go through. This guy actually has to develop skills to get laid. You know, all you have to do is show up, you know? I mean, for a guy, the brass ring is getting a 2-on-1, no TV credits. No, my dad has a yacht. You just get it from talking shit. That is the brass ring for a guy. Now, a woman, her first night of fucking, all she'd have to do is lay down on a pool table. She could fuck every guy in the bar. It's not a skill. It's gluttonous. You know? It's gluttonous. It's like watching a fat guy eat an ice cream. You never cut him. You don't cut him any slack. Haven't you had enough? All right. I'm really glad I redid this podcast because this other one was not nearly as fucked up as this one. I don't know if it's funny, but it's definitely fucked up. Okay, here we go. Here's another one. Bill, I'm getting laid off at the end of the month. Naturally, I would like to go to the dentist before my benefits run out. What a sad fucking state. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. I really believe that people should have some sort of fucking health care. We really need to overthrow these fucking bankers because there's plenty of money out there if those banker cunts weren't fucking charging the U.S. government interest for its own fucking money. Plowing ahead. Anyways, here we go. Since I did not care much for my current dentist, I asked my fiancée for the name of hers. All right, so just get you caught up. If you didn't get lost on my moronic rant with no information behind it there. Okay, this guy's getting laid off. He wants to get his teeth cleaned before his health insurance runs out. He doesn't like his dentist, so he asks his fiancée for the name of hers. He says, my fiancée is Vietnamese and gave me the name of her dentist, who is also Vietnamese. Bear in mind, this is a typical Vietnamese dentist office. You have a dentist, an office manager, who's usually a woman over 50, and 2 or 3, and he writes this in capital letters, hot Asian hygienists. I had a cleaning from one of the hygienists, who couldn't have been more than 20 years old and screamed of junior college. This was the high point of her career until she landed that MRS degree. I don't even know what that is. Maybe I'm dumb. So anyways, I'm getting my teeth cleaned. We were flirting back and forth. The appointment ended, and we headed to the old 50-plus office manager. Before I could even utter a word, the old bag of bones said in broken English, "This appointment is covered, but you can't come back until you find another job." Jesus Christ. Anyways, he says, my hot hygienist, who up until that time was totally into me, quickly looked at the floor and made an immediate beeline to the nearest unoccupied exam room. Now, I am not a racist, but I was so mad. A sentence like this never ends good. Okay, anything that starts with I'm not racist, okay? But these motherfucking... Anyways, he says, now, I am not a racist, but I was so mad that I could have slapped that bitch back to the Vietnamese rice paddies of 1974. Here we go. He's not racist, everybody. How could she say that, especially in front of the hottie who was obviously as dumb as she looked? Jesus Christ, dude. When I got back to work, I told my coworkers the story, and they implied that I was the victim of reverse racism. If I was Asian and had eyes that couldn't see through a keyhole, Jesus Christ, dude, she would have bit her tongue or said something more appropriate. What do you think? Okay. What do I think? All right, let me go with my first thought. Thought number one, dude, you should not be getting married. You should not be getting married, okay? Especially because not only are you hitting on these fucking women, you're so fucking, like, into this shit. Like, you just told me you were engaged. And now you're dragging me into your bullshit. Don't you hate when people do that? Like, I don't mind. If a guy cheats on his girl, I don't give a fuck. Just don't drag me into it. You know? So then I gotta fucking fix my face, too, the next time I see your girlfriend. Don't you hate when people do that? You know? Do what you do. Do what you do. Do it over there. Don't do it near me. See, now you're telling me you're fucking engaged, and now you're hitting on... First of all, why are you hitting on this girl? You know why? I'll tell you why. Because you're not done fucking. And because you're not done fucking, you're setting yourself up, dude, for a brutal, brutal situation. The last thing you should be doing is getting married. You shouldn't even have a fucking girlfriend right now. Okay? And then there's a whole weird thing where your girlfriend's Vietnamese, you go in here, they got all these hot Vietnamese girls, and you're saying you're not racist, but then you're saying fucked up shit about them. But I will give you the benefit of the doubt because this is written. Okay? And the one thing that sucks about writing shit is you lose the tone, and a lot of times people are trying to joke around, so it might have been the way I read it. So we'll leave all of that out of there. But dude, I'm going to tell you right now, you should, the biggest fucking thing about this is don't get married. You're not ready to get married. Okay? I think you're ready to go to Vietnam and fucking hit a singles bar. I think you're ready to do that. But you are not ready to be married, so don't fucking do it. All right? You know? Just sit down and ask yourself, am I done fucking? I guess other women. Because that's what you're signing up for. And you're going to lose half your shit. And you're going to have to, even if you don't have a kid, you're going to have to pay alimony. At least that's how it works in New York, where you have to pay, if you're married 7 years, for 3.5 years, you have to pay alimony to a healthy human being who really should just go out and get a fucking job, but for some reason they don't have to. So, that's my advice. I would say don't get married. But as far as were you an example of reverse racism? No, you were a victim of a 50-year-old woman who is the typical front desk person at any medical place. They always yell out intimate information, you know, constantly, because they're so in the job that they stop understanding that they're in front of the public. That shit, you know, you walk in there, oh, you know, Mr. Johnson, did you get that ointment? How did it work out? They'll yell that across. I actually worked in a dental office, and I saw people haggling over money all the time at the fucking front desk, and I saw it bother a lot of people. And I don't know. I don't think you were a victim of reverse racism. I think that the old bag of bones, as you call her, probably would have said that to anybody else. She sounds like, you know, you kind of have to be a tough person to work the front desk because a lot of people try to get out of paying their shit. So what you should have done was talk to the dentist or even taken her aside, and that's what you do in that situation. Just be like, look, you know, I understand that I don't have a job right now, and you really don't need to be yelling that. I think you owe me an apology. That's the way you handle it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have go the reverse race. You got to understand there's cunts in every race, so don't take it racially. You know, if she said, hey, round eye, why don't you go get a job at Dunkin' Donuts so you can afford the next fucking payment, all right? You fat fuck. You know, she said something like that, yeah. But she kind of laid the facts. She was rude. She was rude. That's what I would go with on that one. Then again, I wasn't there. All right. What am I up to here? 39. Okay, I got to read this revenge story, and then I got to get on with my day because this is my last day in Stockholm, Sweden. Yeah, and I want to go have a good time. All right. I called this part Revenge of the Revenge Stories. All right, here's a revenge story that comes back, bringing this topic back. Here's this guy's revenge story. You always hear about people fucking up someone's car. I actually used this guy's car to fuck him up. And no, I didn't run him over or any stupid shit like that. This was more subtle and much more fun. I was employed by a company that made electronic equipment for computers a number of years back, and I drove one of the many forklifts in the warehouse during the regular day shift. It was one of those warehouses where the warehouse, the administration, was an all-in-one building, which meant that everyone employed in the company worked in the same location. The warehouse manager at the time, my boss's boss, was this short Mexican dude who stood about 5'5" and was a fantastic shitbag asshole. Just going to let you digest that. I've never heard that vulgarity put together that way. Fantastic shitbag asshole to anyone taller than him, which meant pretty much the entire planet, with the exception of China and maybe one island in Indonesia. God, I'm bad. He believed that leadership meant he could be an asshole to whoever damn well he pleased, and it pleased him a whole fucking lot to be an asshole to me. I won't bore you with or your listeners with the details, but his Napoleon complex drove his actions more than any other reason. This is what always happens when I start to read them bad. I think if I read it faster, I will start reading it better. Why don't I take a breath, slow down, and read the rest? Okay, here we go. Here comes the revenge. My job would be on the line if I outright faced off with this guy. So a brawl would be out of the question. And frankly, the whole morale of the workplace would lift a little bit if this shitbag was taken down a notch or two. So I decided to take matters in my own hands without the use of physical violence or property damage. Now this here is actually a unique way to go. All right? Here we go. He said, what I did was I put up his car for sale, and here's how I did it. At the time, I worked for this company. The PT Cruiser had just come out, and this Mexican closet case went out and bought himself one. Maybe he thought they weren't as gay as everyone else knew they were, but hey, this fucknut didn't have both oars in the water in the first place. Some months before, I struck up a great friendship with this chick who worked at the front desk, who also doubled as a human resource assistant. I took her out to lunch at a place of her choosing in exchange for this shitbag's home phone number. Here's where the fun begins. I picked up 2 different local newspapers, and I took out ads in the classifieds for this guy's car and arranged to have them run for a week. The ads basically said that I had a brand new PT Cruiser for sale for less than half the cost of the new one, and I had to leave the country soon but couldn't take the car with me. I also worked at odd hours, and the best time to get a hold of me would be between the hours of 1 and 5 in the morning. Newspapers got really lax about their classified ads. Used to be they'd call the number you gave them to make sure it wasn't bullshit, but since the internet and Craigslist took over, they rarely checked. I placed the same ad in 2 papers on Monday afternoon and quietly waited. Wednesday rolls around and I can already see the result of my handiwork. This fucker shows up to work without a shave, pours himself fuckloads of coffee all day while cowering in his office like one of those baby monkeys with the wire cage mother. I don't know what that means. He'd obviously been getting calls at fuck all hours of the night and couldn't sleep for shit. It may have cost me a couple of bucks to get the ads up, but to see this asshole bloodshot and out of his head more than made up for it. That's actually pretty decent. And with that, I'm going to do overrated, underrated. And I actually have to commend that guy because there was no physical violence. Didn't chop his hair off. He didn't fuck up his car. He just had people. I like how he also somehow had other people doing his dirty work for him. I'd give that one an 8. All right, overrated, underrated. Televised poker. Who wants to watch a group of Asians with mullets sit at a table sober playing cards? You guys are really getting good at this writing shit. I think with each week when you write these in, it's making it easier for me to be funny. Nancy Grace. This media whore needs to change her fucking tampon or get a good night's dick in her. All right. child beauty pageants. Mom never won any beauty contests, so it's real important for her to her fucking spawn does. All right, you know what? I'm done reading. I don't know what happened. I can't read anymore. These are all great. I should read the rest of them next week. I'm too fucking tired. I've been stuttering over everything. Let's just end this goddamn podcast abruptly. I want to thank the person who sent me the Rams Super Bowl, and I actually went on the internet and watched a number of other Super Bowls. And I'm not going to tell you where they are for fear that the NFL is going to take them down, but they had the original broadcast, not the NFL film version. They had the original broadcasts of Super Bowl III and all 4 of the Super Bowls that the Steelers won in the 70s. And I got to tell you, it's a real football education to watch those games without, I love NFL films, how beautiful they make it, and the drama and the music and everything, but to watch, some of them even had the commercials. They were fucking incredible. If you want to know where they're at, just email me and I'll let you know where they're at. But, which is stupid, because if someone from the NFL is listening to this, they send me an email. Whatever, you can find them. But anyways, I watched Super Bowl III, and, Joe Namath was, it really reminded me of Dan Marino. You couldn't sack the guy. He's totally picking up the blitz. He had that quick release. He was really picking them apart. And but I got to admit, man, the Colts just fucked themselves. They threw 3 interceptions in their own end zone. Not their own end zone, in the Jets' end zone. They literally, conservatively left 23 points on the table in the first half alone. And I'm not taking anything away from the Jets here, because they played a phenomenal game. But that Earl Morrall, man, he was the MVP of the NFL that year. Took over for Johnny Unitas. I guess the guy's elbow was all tore up, so he couldn't play. But he had a touchdown. It was like a 3-yard pass, and he threw it like Brett Favre. He threw it 90 miles an hour to the guy's outside shoulder. It deflects off him. Easy touchdown, and it shoots up in the air. It gets picked off. They had a flea flicker at the end of the half, and this guy, Jimmy Orr, is wide open, jumping up and down. He misses him, and he throws into fucking... technically it wasn't double coverage, but there was Jets all around the guy. They throw another fucking pick. I watched Super Bowl IX, which is a great game. The first half, total defensive struggle, and then in the third quarter, Franco Harris starts running wild, and it really wears down the front 4 of the Steelers. And the Steelers' defense is just fucking incredible. And something I didn't know, Terry Bradshaw was fast. See, I was too young to know that. I saw older Terry when he couldn't run anymore. He ran a 4.5 40, and he was a definite threat. But and then Super Bowl X killed me, because I was a huge Cowboy fan in the 70s, and watching them kind of, they went up 10-0 in the first half, and just they were playing real loose, and then they halfway through the second quarter they started playing Marty ball. They were sitting on this 10-0 lead with 2.5 quarters to go. I fucking could not understand it. And then all of a sudden the Steelers just creep back into the game, and next thing you know, they're down by 6 points. Then they open it up again, and they fucking score touchdowns. I was really frustrating as a Cowboys fan, but I got to tell you, watching those great Steelers teams was incredible. In Super Bowl X, Lynn Swann has, I believe, the greatest performance of any wide receiver in Super Bowl history, and that includes Jerry Rice. He has arguably 2 of the greatest catches in NFL history. Forget about the Super Bowl. The guy had 4 catches for 160 yards, and that last pass that Terry Bradshaw throws him is one of the best passes I've ever seen in my life. I'm telling you, go on the internet, find them. There's a lot of shit up there. There's that game where Joe Montana becomes a superstar. That game where he fucking throws it to Dwight Clark. If you're if you're a younger guy and you never got to see those games, I'm telling you, just go on the internet. You know where the fuck to go, and find them, because they're absolutely incredible. And I don't know. I got to watch 3 Super Bowls I'd never seen before. I'd basically plus the Rams. So I watched 4 Super Bowls. That's what I did in Stockholm, Sweden, when I couldn't sleep. I know I'm babbling right now, and this is only interesting to football fans. God damn it, I forgot to talk about that kegerator again. I saw this story on the internet. I saw this TV show where this guy, he got a kegerator, which I'd never heard of before. It basically looks like a big desk. You know, some of the bigger ones, but it holds a keg in there. And you just have beer on tap. And he had it in his kitchen. And of course his wife is like, honey, it's ugly. It doesn't match anything. And what does this fucking sad sack do? Does he say, it's my kitchen too, and give her shit back? No. He's like, oh, okay. And you know what? They fucking wheeled the thing out into the garage. And he's like, well, I'll have the garage, and I'll turn this into a man cave. You know something? If you're a man and you've been banished to your basement or your fucking garage, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? I don't understand that. Why? It's just not a partnership. I couldn't believe it. But you know what it did really make me do? I want to get a fucking kegerator. The only reason why I'm not gonna is because if I had one, not only would I be a fucking raging alcoholic, I would weigh a good 240. I could have blocked for Franco Harris in fucking Super Bowl IX if I had a goddamn kegerator. But I'm telling you, you know, if you're one of those people who doesn't give a fuck and you're already an alcoholic, if you want to cut down on some of the expenses of, you know, and always having to go to a store, and then everyone's trying to have an intervention and try to help you not be an alcoholic so they won't go to the store anymore. And you don't have to be standing there going, get me the booze. Like that dude on intervention. Get a fucking kegerator. I'm telling you, I didn't even know that they existed. I just wish I was like, 15, 20 years younger and those things existed. Or maybe they did. I never heard of them. But I would have had one in my apartment back in my old bachelor fucking days. And I would have had shit on tap, because that's back then. You remember back then, your 20s was the tail end where you could fucking drink 12 beers and eat McDonald's and somehow wake up with a flat stomach and barely a headache? I swear to God. I've never done, I did a commercial early on in my career, a long fucking time ago. My career. But I don't know, I kind of got away from it after a while. I don't know why. But that's something I would have no problem doing a fucking commercial for. You know? I would have no fucking problem whatsoever doing a commercial for a kegerator. You know? Because that's something I would fucking use. Oh, by the way, somebody sent me this hilarious fucking email. This is going to be one of these classic podcasts where I say I'm wrapping it up and then I do another 15 minutes. Where the fuck is it? This guy sent me this hilarious email. Remember last week when you guys asked me about, or somebody asked me about the bloggers? And that supermodel who outed the blogger? And I basically said that I could see, I could see both sides of it. Where the fuck is it? Somebody was really pissed at me for, God damn it, where is it? On any level, supporting that supermodel. I can basically paraphrase what they said, but what they wrote was so fucking funny, though. God damn it, I can't find it. They basically said, sticking up for celebrities. I knew you moving to LA was a bad move. And then it was something else about me being a sellout, and then it just said, fuck you, bye. And I just wrote back. I was just like, okay, have a good one. I just thought it was funny. I just think it's funny when people complain. I don't know, people have that thing that if you move to LA, like, you become a phony. It's like, all that would really prove was I was already a phony. And that you don't become a phony moving out to L.A. You're either a phony or you're not. There's phony people on the fucking East Coast. How many times you fucking cunts back on the East Coast got to get fucked over by somebody in business? Or like, dude, yeah, I'll be there. Or, yeah, I'm going to pay you back. How many fucking times have people got to do shit like that before you realize that there's cunts all over the country? All right? There's cunts in LA too. It's just better weather. That's the only difference. All right. All right, that's it. That's the end of the podcast. Thank you guys for listening, and thanks to everybody in Sweden who came out to the Rival Theater where I was at. And thanks to everybody for keeping this podcast alive with your questions and all that type of stuff. I hope all you guys have a good week, and I will talk to you next Monday. All right, bye-bye.